Alright guys, so the article you guys just read was about the French Revolution. What are some of the main topics that it was going over?
The three estates.
The three estates, perfect. What are the three estates?
The first one was like clergy, the second one was nobility, and the third one was the rest of the French society.
Okay. What else was going on in that article?
How the French Revolution began.
Okay, sweet. Well, that's actually kind of what we're going to talk about today a little bit. So the time period, May 5th, 1789 is about when it started, and it lasted, how long? How long is the difference between these two dates?
10 years.
How long?
10 years.
10 years. That's a very long revolution, right? That's 10 years of battling, heartache, going through everything that you guys also went through in the American Revolution, correct? Fantastic. So who's this guy?
That's the King of France.
The King of France, right? And what kind of monarchy was he?
Absolute.
Absolutism, correct. Didn't you guys discover that? Alright, so that means this guy had all the power in the government, right? So how do you think he was living compared to the third estate?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, right? You guys seen the Versailles, right? Beautiful castle, or not castle, beautiful mansion, absolutely fantastic. Definitely different than the rest of the third estate, considering he's living a totally different lifestyle. The rest, even the third estate had some money. They weren't all poor. There were some that had very wealthy merchants, landowners. They just weren't nobility or the clergy. So, one of the main reasons for this revolution is the financial crisis. Here is the three estates. First estate, clergy, second estate, nobility, and who are they standing on? Third estate, right? Do you think they're carrying most of the weight? Yeah. So, financial crisis. They had a bad harvest in 1787 and 1788, leading to not a lot of food, not a lot of money going out, not a lot of products to sell to other countries to bring in the money they needed. They also were spending a large amount of money. Where do you think most of the money went?
The king.
To the king? Well, probably in his lavish lifestyle, court dresses, all the court stuff. What happened a few years ago, related to us? Exactly, the American Revolution. A lot of the money went towards funding wars and other things like that. So a lot of the money that the French king spent was helping us. It's actually quite interesting because back then, the French and the British didn't really like each other. They were the two world powers. So anytime the French had any reason to kill the British men, they went and did it. So they gave us a lot of money, gave us a lot of resources, men, equipment to help us win our revolution, which then put them in severe debt. So how do they make that debt up? New taxes. And who do you think footed the bill for those new taxes? Exactly, that third estate. So one of the taxes. What was it called again?
It's hard to say. It's the Talia tax.
That's it. I can mispronounce it. The Talia tax. So the Talia tax ended up being all on that third estate. That third estate had to foot the entire tax. So here's some statistics about the estates. Is the peasants? They were 90% of the population, right? So 90% of the population had to foot the entire bill for that new taxes. The clergy and nobility, which owned majority of the land, but had the least amount of people, got exempt from that tax. Do you guys think that's fair? That the majority of the people, who don't have the most money, don't have the most power, had to foot the bill, but yet the most powerful and the most wealthy were like, no, not us. So, basically, they called the General Assembly, declared the National Assembly, and it led them to all three of them coming together, each state having one vote. Out of those three states, which two states do you think voted together?
The
The the first and second, right? So, you know, if each state, even though the third state has 90% of the population, do you think that's fair that they only get one vote? And these two people get, you know, a vote apiece? So since they always vote together, do you think that anything that happens, you know, third state votes for it, ever happens? Exactly. So they all met together, and these two actually locked the third estate out. You know, they showed up, their doors were locked, so they went to the nearest building, which happens to be an indoor tennis court, where they meet and they swear to not stop fighting until a new government is formed, which becomes the tennis court oath. Yeah, they